Hello, Taurus. It's that time. I am here to give you a bonus read. Let's find out what's going on for you, my bull gang. I hope you're well. If you are a Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or Jupiter, there may be something here for you. Keep in mind it's a general reading. Thanks for clicking here. Let's find out what's going on. Taurus, don't forget, private reads are still open. Let's find out what's going on, Taurus. Tell me about Taurus. Okay, well, they're all just jumping to the side here, so let's get it. Well, isn't that interesting? There's you, Taurus. Taurian energy here. We've got Capricorn energy and Virgo energy. We've got the Hierophant, the Devil, and the Knight of Pentacles. We've got the Eight of Cups. And we've got the Seven of Swords. Let's take out one more card and then I will read. Let's take a look here. Ooh, what is this? Taurus, I feel like there is something that you are thinking about over and over and over again. The Page of Swords is here. And it tells me that there is something that you've been observing from a distance. And it feels as though it is giving you this, I would say, I'm going to say that the devil is like I'm going to say that there are thoughts here that I think that you are thinking a lot. I'm going to say that there is something here that's about to switch up on a journey is what it feels like. The Eight of Cups is here. It feels, Taurus, that you're trying to look at something with seriousness. You're trying to take the emotions out of it. It feels like this Eight of Cups detachment energy is sort of, it's like you detaching and really standing in your power here in this Hierophant energy in order to get structure, to stand on business. There's something here that I feel you need to do in order to give you peace. It feels like there is an attachment here. And I think that the attachment that is with the devil is this attachment of feeling way too overly emotional about making some sort of decision. The Knight of Swords is aggressive energy and it feels like it's incoming. In fact, the Knight of Swords here is looking at the Eight of Cups. It feels like you are about to exit your emotional energy and have a conversation with somebody based on facts and data. It feels as though you have detached from something that was not satisfying you, or maybe you're about to do that if this is a future read for you. And so it feels like you are about to detach, get out of your emotional energy, stand in your power, and speak to someone toe-to-toe and give them the crib notes. This is how I feel about the situation. I'm about to cut the codependent or toxic energy between us. The Knight of Pentacles being here tells me that it took you a very long time to assess the situation, to observe it from a distance, get more energy, because that's who the Hierophant is. That's you, Taurus, right? You're the one who is able to change their mind, but the one who is not interested in changing their mind if you can't bring me any new data. If all you can do is give me the same data I've already gone over ad nauseum, then if that didn't change my mind, bring me something new and maybe I will change my mind. But it does feel like you are not playing anymore, Taurus, is what it feels like. I'm not playing. I'm getting out of my emotional energy. This is not enough emotion for me in order for me to not stand outside myself and look at it inside with logic and say, nah, something's not right here. I feel like you have an attachment, and it feels like your attachment might be an emotional attachment, but it does feel like with the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords that you're about to switch things up. I think what is showing up in a bit of a quick or aggressive way here, after a really long period of negotiation from within, it feels like you've seen enough. I've seen enough. We've got the Two of Swords here. We've got the Page of Cups. So I think what is maybe surprising you just a little bit is you're about to make a decision. You're about to step over this obstacle. I think you're about to decide which road you're going to take at the fork in the road. I feel like this person having their blindfold on tells me that you didn't want to have to make this decision. But look, I feel like somebody pushed you into a corner where you have no other decision to make but to get out of your emotions and base it on factual, concrete information. Something that is detailed and logical. So I feel like what's going to surprise you is it feels like there is decision you're making in the 3D. And it feels like after a period of feeling blocked or not wanting to see the situation for what it really is, I feel like you're going to surprise yourself. And it feels like possibly with the 5 of Cups here, there's a decision process going on here that I think is not going to make somebody happy. It could be you, but let's clarify a little more. Let's find out what's going on. Tell me what this attachment is. It could be toxic. It doesn't have to be. It could be something that's being done over and over and over again that is not benefiting you. But I feel like the devil energy is outside of you. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you're like finally seeing that this thing, no matter how much I do it, if it's like doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, but you keep doing the same thing. And it feels like this has to do with a situation, possibly a job or a person. Tell me about the devil. All right. Look, we got cards popping and I don't know what the heck is going on here. We've got the World card. We've got the 3 of Wands. And we have the 4 of Pentacles. I'm just going to put this one down because it did pop out. I feel like it wants to be seen, so let's not put them back in the deck. That's not what I do. Taurus, I feel like you need some sort of a victory. There's something here that you've been fighting against for a while. In the future, you see that something has to come to an end. And I feel that this World card, look, when it is finally complete, when the door finally closes, Taurus, I think that you will consider it to be a milestone in your life, because I feel like you are stuck to something or attached to something because of how you feel about it and not because of how the situation really is. You don't want to disappoint somebody or you don't want to make them feel bad, and that's more Taurian than I've ever heard. It feels like you will stay loyal to a situation just simply because you don't want to hurt somebody. So it does feel like it possibly, with the Knight of Pentacles being here, that we could be talking about a long-term job or a long-term friendship or a relationship. But I feel like you've been forced to step outside of yourself, and the Hierophant in the Rider-Waite deck is standing on a box. So it feels like you need to think outside the box for a moment, standing outside of yourself or outside of the situation, so you can pull yourself out of how you feel about it and look at it in a very detached and unemotional way. You're now looking at the facts rather than getting your feelings involved. I feel like what you've been fighting against, possibly, has been making this decision and saying something out loud about it. Because we do have the Colosseum here, right? And the Colosseum is where they would fight to the death. Look, I think it's a street fight for you to not say what you're going to say because you know that it's going to result in the 4 of Pentacles. You know that it might result in you having to move away from your group of friends, right? Or maybe we're talking about friendship. I feel like you are somebody who doesn't necessarily want to broadcast your feelings, and maybe you decide that you don't want to be vulnerable in a situation, and that may be why you're thinking about closing a door. It almost feels like your loyalty is being taken for granted, Taurus, and it's time for you to make a decision about what you're going to do moving forward. You are stuck, I feel, with the devil energy attached to an emotional situation that's just not working out for you. I don't know if it's platonic or romantic. You can decide that. That is your discernment, not mine. But I do feel like somebody here is making some sort of decision because they're about to go their own way. Tell me about the Hierophant. We've got the 2 of Wands, 4 Cups. Yeah. Everything is just staying the same. There is no progress here because in the 4 of Cups, we're in our comfort zone, but it can be very stagnant there. This feels like a place of stagnancy. I feel like you've done, it feels like you've done everything that you can in order to protect yourself, in order to remain in a place where I feel like you want to stay loyal, but you can't allow people to take advantage of your emotions. And I think that's why the 7 of Wands is here. I feel as though you're about to stand up and step away from the comfort zone, which is, the 4s are always about stability. I think right now, you don't want to rock the boat. It feels like stability of emotions. Everything is fine. As long as we don't talk about the certain subject, then everything is fine. But the 2 of Wands is here. So you do have to make a decision or you stay stuck. Tell me about the Knight of Pentacles. We've got the Page of Pentacles. We've got the 4 of Swords and the 6 of Cups. That's why it's a hard decision to make. This is a really hard decision to make because I feel like we are talking about a lifetime friendship or somebody that you have been connected to emotionally for a very long time, which could mean a relationship, could mean a friendship. But I feel like you are in a phase of healing on this part, this leg of the race. On this part of the journey, you are about healing. You are about finding opportunities to heal. You know what this sounds like? It sounds like the end of being in the in-between. Because look, you've been performing for somebody for a really long time with the efforts of not hurting them, rocking their life, rocking the situation. It feels like you are seeing opportunities and decisions that need to be made in order for you to heal. But then this shows up and says, but I'm loyal. I've known you forever. I'm loyal. So I feel like this Knight of Pentacles goes slow for a reason, Taurus. It goes really slow, slower than all the rest of the Knights, but it's the only one that is actually going to get to the outcome. But I feel like with this Knight of Pentacles, it tells me the reason I'm slowing everything down is so you can see all the details and see everything for what it is, instead of seeing things with the through the blindfold. Tell me about this Knight of Swords. It feels like something is coming in aggressively. It feels like a conversation. Whether you start it or whether they do, it feels like some information arrives in a very quick manner. It's very sharp. It feels very sharp. This is Gemini energy. It feels like somebody just sort of says it. We've got the Ace of Cups. We've got the Four of Wands in the reverse and the Judgment card. It does feel like this has been I'm going to say, okay, I'll just tell you what Charlie's showing me. Charlie is showing me somebody who's on one of those bridges that sway, you know, the ones that are made of just the slats of wood and chains or whatever, over this big gully, right? So it feels like there's something here that's been not necessarily stable for a very long time. And I think it does have something to do with someone who is going to speak about how they feel about the situation. So I feel like somebody is going to speak about how they feel about the situation, and you are going to be out of your emotional energy because whatever they're giving you in terms of emotional energy is not enough. You would rather be detached and not have to feel it so you don't have to be hurt by it later. The Four of Wands is in the reverse. I don't think that you see the future of this going anywhere else. It doesn't feel like you see the future of leveling up into another vibration. There's something here with the Four of Wands that tells me something might be over, or I don't feel the way I used to. It feels as though somebody here has been breadcrumbing you for so long that possibly you're just kind of over it. You don't, like, you're apathetic about it. The Judgment card is here, and I feel like this is the time to make the decision because this situation keeps coming up to haunt you. It's never going away until you finally make the decision to heal and go after whatever opportunity you see in the future. It feels like it's keeping you from some sort of opportunity. But understand that the Knight of Pentacles goes slow, so you will look over the situation and decide which way you're going next. And it's okay. It doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get to the outcome. I don't think you really have an outcome. I think your outcome is for healing, standing strong, standing on business, telling people who you are, and having your words match your actions. That's the Hierophant, right? Tell me about the Eight of Cups. We've got the Five of Cups. We've got the Two of Pentacles. Look at that. These cards come back again. And the Three of Swords is here. I do believe that you don't really want to have any regrets here. So I think that you're choosing to go over everything surgically with pen and paper, with the actual findings, the facts, and the truth, rather than mixing it up with emotions. Look, I don't think that you want to do it this way, Taurus, but it's time for you to take the lead. It's time for you to stand up in your energy. And I think that's why the Hierophant fell out onto the table and then out onto the deck first. Because I feel like it's time for you to encompass who the Hierophant is. Going your own way, making my own traditions, writing my own doctrine, getting my footing stable. Also building kingdoms, right? Ruling possibly, but also it's like structure, I'm going to say. I need a structure. And I think that being in the life of somebody who comes and goes, or who is emotional, then they're not. That's what the Ace of Cups and the Four of Wands in the reverse says to me. This situation is unstable and you need stability. So tell me what's up. I feel like you're regretting making this decision because I think that it's not going to go the way you were hoping it would go, because I feel like with the Three of Wands here and the World card, it tells me in the future, inevitably something comes to an end. So you can hang on as long as you want by just keeping the peace in the Four of Cups and not saying anything, not rocking the boat, not approaching the subject. But I feel like it's holding you back from some sort of an opportunity that's in the future. Look, the Tower, the inevitability of the major arcanas is what I'm talking about. And when the Tower shows up in the World card, it is inevitable. You are going to have to face it at some point as to whether you're going to close the door or not. Not when, not whether you will or not, but when you will. Because this is inevitability. That you can keep on the way you are, and that's fine. I'm not telling you not to be, but I feel like inevitably you're just prolonging something because you're trying to prove to yourself that you're loyal regardless of what the situation brings. So the Tower tells me that in a moment's notice, or when you probably don't expect it, the Two of Pentacles is here. You make the decision, and regretfully so, but I think that the facts are speaking for themselves. I know that it's going to hurt you. It's not going to be happy for you, but it's not going to be happy for them either. I think it's time for you to move on from something here. Whatever that is for you, let me know. I don't know what that is. Let's talk about the Page of Swords. It almost feels like you've got some new information, or all of a sudden you pull some information from somewhere. It's like I was observing it, and I saw it, but I didn't want to believe that it was this toxic, or I didn't want to believe that it was an attachment that I can't let go of. Or maybe I'm just here only because they won't let go of me. Tell me about the Page of Swords. We've got the Ten of Cups, and there they are. Yeah, we did shuffle, right? And we've got the Eight of Pentacles. So it does feel like you have been working on yourself, and I really do feel that you are really encompassing who the Hierophant is. Look, you're not born the Hierophant. You're born according to your astrology. You grow into being the Hierophant. Some people never get there, right? We've got the Three of Swords and the Ten of Cups, and I feel like something that was very emotionally satisfying for you at one time has now become walking through tar. It feels like it's really hard to deal with. I don't want to deal with it. No matter what I do, I get the same outcome over and over and over again. Tell me what the Devil is, please. We've got the King of Pentacles, we've got the Seven of Pentacles, and we got the Ten of Pentacles. It might be something to do with work, could be something to do with your health, or time, your effort, or your energy. It feels like you are trying to, I'm going to say, it feels like the King of Pentacles is the person who deals with money. They deal with money, they deal with building of material wealth. They also could be a financial manager. The Seven of Pentacles is here. It tells me you've put a lot of really hard work into building yourself financially, so you have stability for the future. But I feel like you have somebody stuck on you, somebody who's spending your money, someone who expects you to take them for $200 meals, someone you're paying all the bills and they're just kind of hanging out with you. We've got the King of Wands. I feel like you go to the numbers, the practical numbers, looking at the way things are going, and it's time that I have to make a decision about my wealth, my health, my pentacle world. I'm the one who's putting all the work in and building everything, and somebody else here is not. They are a close friend, a very close friend, or a lover, somebody who you might be dating or married to because the Hierophant is here, but it feels like it's a very uneven balance. And look, money is never really the reason to leave a relationship, but money is the number one reason why marriages break down. So I feel like there's an uneven balance here. It feels like you're doing all of the bill paying, making of the money, you're paying the mortgage. It feels like you're doing all of it and putting a lot of hard work into building a future. And then the King of Wands comes here and says, use your wisdom. Use your wisdom and be inspired based on the practical information, based on the information you have gleaned through looking at the documents, looking at your bank accounts, looking at all of that. It's time to stop overgiving, Taurus. I really do feel like it's time for you to stop overgiving to someone, a situation, the overtime, the employer who doesn't appreciate you. You're just working to pay the government at some point. We do have the Six of Swords here. We have the King of Swords. Look, you have the last word about whether you want to go or not. It never was about them. It never was about them crying because you want to leave, about them crying because this isn't working out for you. It never was about them. The truth, the honesty, the details, and the facts speak for themselves. And so I feel like somebody here, we got one sword in the hand of the king and the 6 swords is 7. It feels like somebody wasn't being completely honest with you. Gosh, look at this. It feels like manipulation. It feels like somebody who might have been manipulating you in all aspects. In money, in love. We got the Ace of Cups here. It feels like this person was manipulating you and just, hang out in the backseat of your car, right? Or riding shotgun here. So I feel like you have to make a decision. And look, the decision is yours. Whatever you decide is whatever you decide. But I'm just going to tell you that there are some cards here that indicate there is an inevitability that something here is about to change. And it's about to change because you initiate the change, because it was always within your hands. I feel like you're going to figure out that somebody here is been manipulating you, possibly either emotionally or financially or both. And the King of Wands tells me that you're inspired to look at the books. You're inspired to look at the credit card balances. You're inspired to look at how much money you have in the bank, how much you had at the beginning, and how much you do not. I think that you haven't been saying anything here because you probably are in some sort of a commitment. And commitment to a contract, commitment to work, commitment to a marriage, whatever it is. And you haven't said anything up to here because this is a really long-term thing. But listen, a lot of people live in marriages that are dead just so they can keep their financial wealth, because they don't want to have to split things, assets and such. But I'm going to leave that there. And if that resonates with you, I would really love to know. Thank you, Taurus, for all the ways that you love me. If you feel like you like this reading and you want to join, please hit this subscribe button. And if you are somebody who likes it enough to give it a thumbs up or a hype, I would really appreciate that as well, as it brings everybody together. We've been growing so much lately. Thank you so much for all you do. I'm going to go for now, but I'll be back because I'm always back. And if you're here, we'll do this again. Take care. Thank you, Taurus. Bye-bye.